Hello, Monetization Nation. I'm Nathan Gwilliam, your host. Today, my guest is Dr. Kelly Henry. He's a chiropractor who grew his clinics in one of the top producing chiropractic offices in the nation. Dr. Kelly is also the author of Define and Deliver Exceptional Customer Service. And today, we're going to discuss how great customer service can help grow our businesses. In today's episode, we will be covering the following key takeaways. Number one, if we can increase our customer retention by only 5%, it can likely lead to an increase of 25 to 95% of profit. Number two, the key component of customer retention is creating an excellent customer experience. Number three, studies have shown that businesses often rate their customer service much higher than their customers rate it. Number four, to create a great customer service experience, we should fix our internal company culture and be consistent. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Hey, can you start off by sharing with us something that you are super passionate about?
Well, you kind of described what I'm super passionate about. I'm passionate about helping other businesses, other business owners learn how to increase their profits, increase their growth, really to move their businesses into a place that creates a lifestyle that these business owners really want, deserve, and have really strived to get to. So that's my passion at this point.
Can you share with us one of the greatest home runs or success stories that you've had so far in your career related to this passion of yours?
Well, I'm going to give you two. One is, I don't want to brag, but my own success story. My first business failed, and I was able to, through coaching and learning and putting my system together, I was able to achieve, the 7-figure mark. So I'm obviously pleased and proud of that. Through my clients, I've had clients double, triple their businesses through the years using my strategies and systems. So that's always great to see. I always like to step back though, and it's not because of what I've done. It's not what I taught them. It's not because I'm some kind of special guru or special talents or have special knowledge. They did the work. They put in the effort. I've learned from those that have gone before me that knew how to do things and whatnot. So I'm just kind of part of the conduit that of information that helps these businesses grow. I'm just excited to be at least part of that to help these business owners, again, achieve that level of success that they really have wanted and have strived for.
I love it. So you talk about this system that you've developed, that you learned through losing your business and learning from these coaches. Can you talk us through on a high level, what is that system that you've developed?
Absolutely. I call it the 5% bump system. And the reason we call it the 5% bump or the 5% increase system is that there's a study that Harvard Business Review did. And what they found out is if you increase your business retention, so if you increase your retention rate of your customers by 5%, it leads to an increase, or it can lead to an increase of 25 to 95% increase in profits. And so that's the whole focus of my system. It is to increase customer retention, reduce customer churn, the lifetime value of a customer. That's what we're focused on and dial into. It's important to acquire a new customer or a new business, but it's much more valuable to create a scenario where those customers are staying with you and staying loyal to your brand and continue to shop from you, buy from you, and those type of things. So that's what we ultimately want to do. The key component to that is creating a excellent customer experience and having better customer service and really maximizing that. And you do that by making your customers, your patients, your clients feel important, valuable, special when they are interacting with your business each and every time that they have that interaction with you.
What's the biggest mistake or failure that you've had related to customer experience, customer service? And what'd you learn from it?
Well, oddly enough, it wasn't so much from the directly interacting with the customers. It was how I was treating my staff. And I went through a season in my chiropractic business, my chiropractic offices, where it's not that I treated my staff poorly, but I, for some reason, got the mentality that they were a liability. They were there only to collect a paycheck, to do the least amount of work possible. And my job was to so so much crack the whip and stay on top of all of that and correct every little mistake. And all that did is create a situation where they were not happy with me. I wasn't happy with them. And when that's happening within the internal culture of a business, it's difficult to make the customers happy. And one of my coaches called me on it and said, "Hey, you're doing that's completely wrong. You need to change your attitude and look at your employees as assets. Look at the 90 to 95% of the good things that they're doing, comment on that, reinforce that, correct when needed, but look them at as an asset and treat them better and change that culture around." And when I did that, that was a complete game changer in how my employees were interacting with my patients and wanting to treat them well and making that my business that much better because it started with how I was treating my employees. So basically, it boils down to happy employee equals happy customer.
So this is a show about digital monetization. Can you share with us your best monetization secret or strategy?
Well, we've already described a little bit of it. You when you create a happy customer, you create a loyal customer. A loyal customer continues to buy from a business, but a loyal customer, a happy customer, and when that's done consistently, is going to refer friends, family, colleagues, and those around them, which also become loyal customers. And so that is my secret. It's that focus on the retention, and it's focused on treating those customers in a valuable manner to create that loyalty, create those relationships where the customer would rather die than leave your business. And that, again, leads to referrals, it leads to growth, and it leads to massive profits when done properly.
Can you think of a company that's done a really good job of that, that's built extreme loyalty for you towards their business?
Well, Amazon, I mean, just to be honest with you, it started off and it continues to be, but the premise was, and you can read the quotes by Jeff Bezos, that his focus was on making the customers feel valuable, but making it an easy experience for them to do business with Amazon. And we all know how easy it is to do. A couple other businesses come to mind is where I live in Texas. We have a company, and I think they're throughout most of the United States, but Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A doesn't necessarily have the greatest food. Their chicken sandwiches and stuff are pretty decent, but they have a culture. They have a system that they teach, 16, 17, 18-year-olds how to treat their customers right, and say my pleasure at every interaction they have with those customers, and keeps customers coming back no more. And they're very efficient in getting your food and taking care of your orders and those type of things too. And that's certainly a big component of it. But those two businesses, they know what they're doing as far as the customer service aspects of their business.
I think it was last Thursday night. We were dropping my second daughter, off to start her freshman year of college. And I was with my wife in the car one evening, and she wanted Chick-fil-A. And so we drove to Chick-fil-A, and the line was so long, just this huge line of cars, which is pretty normal for Chick-fil-A. And so we ended up going to a different restaurant. But they do such a good job that they just have this cult following of people that are willing to wait in those kinds of lines.
They really do. And again, I'm convinced that it's not because of their food. Their food's okay. I mean, it's decent food. It's especially on the side of the fast food restaurant. But it's really that culture. It's the feeling you get by doing business with them that really keeps those customers coming back for more.
Yeah, I like how you brought that up. The feeling of doing business with you, right? They create that experience. That's what Disney does so great about is creating that experience. You're not just going to an amusement park and going on a ride, but you're experiencing Star Wars, or you're experiencing, some memory creating moment with the people that you love.
Exactly. And that's a business I should have brought up. So I'm glad you brought Disney up, because there's a reason why Disney World, Disneyland is called the most or the happiest places on earth. So, because Disney does every aspect of the experience right. I mean, it's every detail is pointed towards making the experience 100% for the customer, for their clients. So.
What do you believe is the biggest tectonic shift that is transforming the business landscape today?
Well, a couple come to mind. One is just this, starting with the start of the pandemic last year, roughly February, March of 2020, when businesses, and it seemed like every business had to go online or have an online aspect of ordering or somehow doing business with them. And they may have had that, but then it just got polarized and businesses just really had to shift into that mode. And there was a lot of businesses that already had done that and not seeing didn't have foresight into the pandemic, but they'd already had it in place. And so they obviously prospered immediately. And then there was those others that had to, get up to speed with that. And so that's a big aspect. What I see with the online that, and it goes along the lines of what I teach and what I coach and what I consult with is, there's certain aspects of being online and providing great customer service that still is missed. The lines of communication are slow at times. You're having to work through several different lines of communication. Things don't transpire. There's several different aspects. Or if somebody wants to talk to a real life person, there's not that aspect of things. So there's some things in the customer service realm with moving onto the online space and being more automated that way that hasn't transitioned with the customer service side of things. So I don't necessarily work with online businesses, but most of the businesses I work with do have an online presence. So we touch on that area to make sure that's that they are taking care of the potential problems and the areas that they may not be aware of that are causing issues and maybe steering their customers in a different direction because of the poor performance there.
What are the biggest sources of the customer service problems that businesses are dealing with today?
Well, the one I see most, and it's not from the customer side of thing, it's from the business side of thing, that they already think they have great customer service. And most businesses have an aspect of customer service that they have a piece of this and a piece of this that they're doing that they loosely associate to the greater good that, we're fine. We don't need help with that. But statistically, there's study after study that shows that what a business says or thinks in regard to their customer service, generally, about 80% of businesses say they have great customer service, but when the customers of those businesses are surveyed, only around 8% of those customers say those businesses provide stellar or good customer service. So that's a huge gap. So for me and my clients, is just to help them understand that there's probably some giant holes that it's not that they're not looking at them. It's just that they have blinders on with the idea that we're fine in that area. So they're just not seeing what's going on where they're losing the customers through these giant gaps and holes. So helping them understand that and then getting things shored up and helping them again, retain customers. That's the key component. Retain those customers, keep them coming back. And then boom, all of a sudden we're growing and profiting like we never had before.
I like that focus on how great customer service can improve our retention, and retention improves our bottom line. So it turns customer service. I think a lot of times the reason why CEOs don't focus more on customer service is they see it as a cost center instead of a revenue center. But if we focus on great customer service and we improve our retention and can increase our profitability by 25 to 95%, as you cited in that Harvard study, then maybe if we focused on it that way, it would help us to see customer service as a revenue center, not a cost center.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, that's why I market my services as helping with growth and profits through customer retention. I don't necessarily lead with customer experience, customer service, because like you said, all businesses think, oh, that's a great idea. That's fine. That's super. We don't need that. Or that's just another expense we have to worry about. They don't look at it as an investment. But if they can see where customer retention is, yeah, that would be important to help bolster and grow the business. Then I can come in with the mechanism. Okay, here's where we need to work to actually do that.
Okay, so the first issue that you brought up is businesses accepting the reality that they might have opportunity for improvement in their customer service.
Might's the operative word there.
So once a business gets over that hill and they've acknowledged that they have room for improvement, let's actually go back. How does a company get over that hill? How do you help convince a business that there really is a problem there that they need to address with their customer service?
We look at their customer retention rates, and then if they've done any kind of surveying, repeat business, surveying of their customers, surveying of their employees, generally get a good feel. I can ask generally just a few questions too on the customer service. How much, how often do you train? What does your training look like? How much training do your new employees get? Those type of things. And generally it opens things up to think for them to understand that, okay, we're not doing quite as much and we're not quite as good in the customer experience, customer service type of things. So that opens the door right there.
Yeah. In my experience, it seems like the data is the best convincer in that process, right? When you have a specific number of people that are not happy with our customer service, seems like that's the best way to get people to put more resources towards it. Okay. So once I'm over that hill and I realize I have a need to improve my customer service, what have you found are the most common problems with customer service that people need to look at, and how do companies best find those biggest problems that they need to address first?
Well, we already talked about one is just that internal culture. That is huge. That's got to be, when I work with a client, that's the first thing we're going to look at, make sure is shored up. And that culture is one of a team atmosphere of the employees feeling valuable. So they in turn can make the customers feel valuable. So we look at that and make sure that is good. Another huge issue, if you will, even if I, work with a customer, we get the philosophy and the culture right and get the actions, it's the consistency. And that's just a killer for customer service, moving into retention and all that. If there's inconsistency in providing that. And we've all had the experience of going to different businesses where one time it was just phenomenal. You felt like, king of the world when you're into that business. And the next time you go in and you feel like they could absolutely care less and would rather you not be there at that particular moment. Well,